Talks truth, live from the booth, always miss 100 proof. Should bring it to you words of encouragement with the funny twist that features soul like it's nourishment. While you're listening, I hope you catch a feeling, cause Tina talks truth about hope, joy, and healing. Tina talks truth.
Welcome to Tina Talks Truth Show. I'm Tina Levine, your host, and I'm so excited that you're here. Just want to remind you, I'm on YouTube as well. So please go and like my videos and subscribe. Not prescribed. I have a very special guest today, and it's Jason Dorr with More2Life. This organization is changing lives, saving lives, and helping parents. I'm so excited to introduce to you Jason Dorr.
Hello.
Hi, Jason. Thank
doing?
you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Tina.
I'm excited. We've known each other for a long time. Usually we pass each other walking in the morning,
Yes.
doing our little walk. I'm usually in my pajamas, so I look a little different. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here, but I also appreciate the ministry work that you do. And you do it not just in churches, you do it in schools as well, with middle and high school students. Tell us about More2Life.
Well, More2Life is a youth development program. We go, like you said, we go into churches, but our main focus is actually schools. And we go to middle schools, high schools, both public and private, and we talk to students about your choices affect your future. And so we've been around since 1999, and we've spoken now to over 150,000 students in Pinellas County schools, as well as the Bay Area.
Okay, so you got to include me in that 150,000
Yes.
students plus one
Yes.
adult, me. Because I actually had the privilege of sitting in at a middle school class, and I actually sat there and observed one of your assistant teachers, Wally.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
What school was that at?
I can't remember. Largo, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
It was one of the middle
Oh, I didn't know.
schools,
Great.
and he was phenomenal. He did
Yes.
such a great job. I literally was taking notes and took like 3 pages of notes.
Awesome.
And I've been a certified drug prevention specialist for, years and in the field, but I tell you, there's so much great information that he actually provided the students. Drug prevention is just one of the topics. Share with our audience the other topics that you cover.
Yeah, like I said, our tagline is your choices affect your future. And so what we do is we try to get a student to think ahead at their future. And so we talk about goal setting, and we start there. And once we cover goal setting, we challenge them to avoid risky behaviors that can affect their future in a negative way. So drugs and alcohol is definitely key, but we also talk about abstinence and the importance of waiting until marriage because of those consequences such as teen pregnancy, STDs, emotional, mental, social. And then we also talk about building healthy relationships. When we ask them, who's ever seen a good relationship, we get a few hands. When we say, how many here has ever seen a bad relationship? Multiple hands. And so we're trying to get them to think about how they can have healthier relationships and even alleviate some of the divorce rates that are out there. So.
Absolutely, and STDs are on the rise, as well as domestic violence relationships and all of that. So I'm sure that you cover domestic violence and date rape and all of that.
Yeah, that we definitely include that in our drug and alcohol lesson because, that comes with the territory. In fact, drugs, alcohol, sex all hang out together. It's a package deal when these students go to parties in high school, and so one thing leads to another. When you're not sober-minded or you're drunk, you're high. Your vision, your judgment is impaired, which of course causes you to make poor decisions, leaving you with regret. So.
Absolutely, yeah. You forgot one, rock and roll.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No, they do not educate about rock and roll.
Not yet. No.
So over 150,000 youth.
Yes.
What are the outcomes? What has come from all of this?
Well, our topics are very hard-hitting. They're controversial. And so we really spend a lot of time building relationship, breaking down the walls with humor, kind of like you do. And, we're not comedians, but we do crack some jokes to get them laughing, to get kind of lighten the mood. And then when we have to talk about those hard-hitting issues, they're more receptive to that because we're not lecturing, we're not preaching at them, we're giving information, but we're doing it in a very practical, fun, engaging, energetic way to get them thinking and to help them think about the choices they're making even before they pursue those choices. So.
And a lot of the activities are like hands-on activities, like get them out of their seat and do different interactive
Yes.
activities.
Students are visual learners, and so it's not just us talking the whole time. We show videos. We do very interactive object lessons. We get them involved with this balloon activity where they juggle balloons, and so if they sit there the whole time, you lost them. And so you got to not only engage, because our talks we're animated, we're like cartoon characters, we're moving around, we're being funny, but then the videos and writing on the whiteboard and doing the illustrations really help make those points come alive.
And how is it that you select these wonderful presenters? Because I have just been entertained by all of them. You have just truly selected the most professional, but also, like you said, they're personable and they're able to get this message across. It's a serious message, but you guys do it in such an educational and informative way.
Yeah, it is a process. First of all, it's prayer, number one. God, please bring us the right people. But we do sit down and we interview a lot of candidates, and they have to have definitely a heart for students. They have to have a little bit of background teaching students, working with students, and public speaking, because that's what we do. We're up there not only connecting with students, but we're public speakers. And so you got to have that. You can't be up there and be all nervous and tripping over your words. You have to be able to articulately, do a presentation. And so, we look at all factors, and then of course, just personality. Do they mesh well with the team? And so the staff right now, we all get along great. We have a great time, and we kind of learn from each other. So no educator presents the same way. I actually learn, material from the other educators and apply them, and vice versa. We kind of bounce off each other. So it's pretty neat.
And we're going to be right back. We're actually going to talk about the parenting piece of all of this. So parents, stick around. We'll be right back.
I'm JDRF.
I am JDRF. I'm JDRF because...
I am JDRF.
Because... Type 1 diabetes is hard. I am JDRF because I advocate.
Because I am helping research progress.
Because I am part of a community of hope.
Because I believe we can find a cure.
I'm JDRF because I'm gonna beat this.
Type 1 diabetes won't hold me back.
We are JDRF. Okay.
We are JDRF because we do big things.
We are JDRF
because they're the ones at the front lines doing what we need.
Every morning when I wake up, I am JDRF.
I am JDRF because I want an artificial pancreas. Because I am the mother of a type 1.
Because I'm a fighter. Because I believe in them.
Because I want my kids to say they used to have diabetes.
Because I want to help others.
Because I believe we're all working together.
Because together we can build a community.
Helping to just raise awareness for type 1 diabetes.
I am JDRF because I want to see a world where type 1 becomes
type 9 diabetes. I am JDRF because I want a cure.
Welcome back to the Tina Talks Truth Show, and my guest is the director of More2Life, Jason Dorr. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning back in to the Tina Talks Truth Show. And we're going to talk about the parenting piece of More2Life. Share with our audience, what does that parenting piece look like, and what can you offer to our parents?
Yeah, I mean, we've been speaking to students for several years, and we did talk to parents years ago, but when I became director, we had to kind of recalculate. And so in the last recent years, I've really have more, as a parent myself, have a heart to talk to the parents, because the parents are the #1 influence in a child's life. And so me being a parent of 2, I'm seeing that more and more, especially as my oldest is getting up in years. He's going to be in middle school next year, which is a pretty scary thought.
Yes.
But, a couple years ago when he was in 4th grade, he was at my parents' house, and accidentally stumbled upon some stuff on the internet. It really freaked him out. It traumatized him. The kids at school were telling him things. So my wife and I had to have that talk with him. And it was not easy, but we got through it, and it turned out to be a great thing, to the point where now it's out there. So now we can have that open conversation with him about, you know, things such as sex and sexual content, and he now can come with me to the the summer presentations and hear the rest of the story. And he asked a lot of questions. Dad, what's Netflix and chill? What does that mean? So now I can share that with them without saying, no, we're not going to talk about that. And you know, I think parents tend to shelter their kids as long as they can, and I understand that. We want to protect them as much as we can, but there's going to come a point where we can't shelter anymore. We got to have those topics because they're gonna hear about it somewhere.
Yes.
And this is the part I really want parents to understand. Somebody's going to educate your kid. It's going to be the media. It's going to be internet, because we didn't have social media. We didn't have all this back when we were kids, right? So it's out there right in their face, and even if they're not really looking for it, it comes to them. You know, a related video on YouTube or something's going to pop up. So media is going to influence them. Their friends are going to influence them. So why not the number one influence be influencing them, and that's the parents. So we want to equip the parents, educate them so they can have those meaningful talks with their kids and be that voice to them.
Absolutely, and that starts young. That starts. I mean,
it's
2 years old. As soon as they start talking is when you should start having these conversations about chemicals and strangers and just you know.
Yeah, absolutely. The moment you start noticing and they start picking up on things, and it's getting younger and younger. Like I said, my son was in 4th grade. He was 10 years old. And so, you know, years ago that might have been too young, but now it's like, you know, it needs to happen, and you need to have that talk with them, especially about drugs and alcohol. I mean, that's another front that we're having to combat, especially with the marijuana issue. You know, the media is telling them that marijuana is fine, it's medicine, and yes, there is medical marijuana, but they need to understand that it's not all medical, and there is harms to the recreational stuff. So we're getting that resistance now in the classroom, and so we really got to not only educate students, but we got to educate the parents.
Yes.
So they know as well.
Yes, absolutely, and that's a whole nother 375,000 people, you know, that you're going to have to reach.
Yes.
Because of all the children all the students that you serve, they have parents, and so that's a huge undertaking. So thank you. I'm so excited to hear that you guys are doing that. How is that? Is it a group or informational flyers? How are you guys reaching the parents?
Yeah,
exactly.
we just started this year, so we are doing a lot more promotional stuff through whether it's online or, you know, flyers, like you said. Word of mouth is key, you know, just getting that out there. And I've been contacting the PTAs, you know, churches, and so, you know, we just trying to get our message out there as best we can. One of our number one presentations that really is probably the top one that everyone really is high demand, I should say, is the social media safety, because that's a big thing. You know, just keeping your kids media safe from online predators, from just content, all that. So that's key. So that's one that, you know, when I list this is what we talk about, that's like the one that they like. Oh, our parents need to hear that one. So.
Can you give us a tip right now for parents with the media safety in that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's their kids. If their kids have a smartphone or a tablet, they're on the internet or they're on social media. So I would say, you know, definitely investing in some filters, online filters that can prevent them from seeing the content they don't want them to see. Keep the computer in the family room. You know, don't let it, you know, be in their room where they can't, you know, monitor. You know, and I think that a parent should have their kids' passwords and be on the up and up with their, because, you know, and I know a lot of parents struggle with that. It's like, oh, I don't want to invade their privacy, but you know what? We need to invade their privacy because we can hopefully help them from going down a path. You know, there is the dark web. I mean, there's some scary stuff out there. You know, human trafficking. Drug trafficking, all sorts of stuff, and all you have to do is just find it, and there you are. So parents need to know this and not just assume, oh, my kid wouldn't, and that's the thing. Oh, my kids are not doing that. My kids are not. It's very subtle. The devil's a liar. He's subtle.
That's right.
And it just one step at a time, just to open that door to them. So.
Absolutely, yeah. That's all great information. Thank you so much. Parents out there, if you have middle, high school, even little ones, I encourage you to open that line of communication with them. Educate them now about chemicals, about people that may be looking for, where they live or their phone number and that kind of stuff, but also just communicate with them in regards to internet safety and just not disclosing personal information. That was one of the things I taught my son was, not to say your real name, so he uses a fake name, and not to say his age, and clearly not say where he goes to school or anything like that with the video games, playing online and that. And so these are all great tips. Parents, please, you're the first educator in your child's life, and you have so much impact and positive. You're a positive protective factor. So step up and educate your children, but keep that communication open so that they know that you're a safe person to communicate with. Jason, thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you.
And once again, I'm Tina Levine, and the truth is, there is hope.